Be ambitious. Commit your work to the Lord, and your plans will be established. That's Proverbs 16, verse 3. At first, that might sound like it's only about faith. But look closer, and it reveals something surprising. Ambition isn't the problem. The direction of your ambition is. Maybe you've been told not to aim too high, to stay realistic, to be satisfied with what you have. And while gratitude matters, there's a difference between being content and quietly giving up on the person you could become. Your life changes the moment you realize ambition isn't selfish when it's rooted in purpose. Your brain is designed to chase goals. Neuroscientists have found that dopamine isn't simply the feel-good chemical. It's deeply involved in motivation. Your brain releases it most powerfully when you're moving towards something meaningful. Heck, not just when you finally get it. That's why having no direction often feels more exhausting than working hard. Without a goal, your mind starts drifting. Days blend together. Small distractions become irresistible because your brain is looking for something to pursue. That's why ambition matters. But here's where many people get confused. Ambition isn't about wanting a bigger house, a nicer car, or more people admiring you. Those things can come, but they make terrible destinations. History is full of people who reached the top and still felt empty because success answered the wrong question. The better question is this: who are you becoming while you're chasing your goals? Look at Joseph in the Bible. He dreamed of something greater while he was still young. That dream led him through betrayal, slavery, false accusations, and prison. From the outside, it probably looked like ambition had ruined his life. But every setback became preparation. His character grew before his influence did. By the time he stood before Pharaoh, he wasn't simply someone with a dream anymore. He had become someone capable of carrying responsibility. That's often how purpose works. Your biggest opportunity usually arrives after your biggest season of preparation. Psychologists call this delayed gratification, the ability to give up something small today for something greater tomorrow. One of the most famous studies in psychology suggested that children who learned to wait for a better reward often developed stronger self-control later in life. Later research showed the story is more complex, but the core lesson still holds. Learning to delay immediate pleasure helps people pursue long-term goals. Every meaningful ambition asks you to practice that skill. Reading instead of scrolling, saving instead of spending, training instead of quitting, praying instead of panicking. None of those choices feel dramatic in the moment, but they compound. That's one of the most powerful ideas in life. Success rarely arrives all at once. It grows quietly through repeated decisions that almost nobody notices. Think about an oak tree. For years, it appears to grow slowly. Most of its energy is spent developing roots underground, where nobody can see. Then one day, it becomes strong enough to survive storms that would destroy smaller trees. People often admire the tree without appreciating the years spent growing unseen. Your life works much the same way. The habits nobody applauds are usually building the future everybody notices. History gives another great example. Before Abraham Lincoln became one of America's most respected presidents, he lost elections, failed in business, experienced personal heartbreak, and faced criticism almost everywhere he went. If ambition meant never failing, Lincoln would have stopped long before history remembered his name. Instead, failure became part of his education. That's something your brain sometimes forgets. Psychologists describe something called a growth mindset, the belief that abilities can improve through effort, learning, and persistence. Research has shown that seeing challenges as opportunities to grow can help people stay resilient when things don't go as planned. Failure doesn't always mean you're on the wrong path. Sometimes it means you're still learning how to walk it. Jesus told a parable about talents. 3 servants were trusted with different amounts. 2 invested what they'd been given. 1 buried it because fear seemed safer than trying. The servant who buried his talent wasn't criticized for lacking ability. He was criticized for refusing to use it. That's a powerful reminder. Playing small doesn't always come from humility. Sometimes it comes from fear disguised as wisdom. Maybe you've been waiting until you feel confident enough to apply, confident enough to start, confident enough to speak. But confidence usually doesn't come before action. It grows because of action. Every expert was once uncomfortable. Every leader once doubted themselves. Every meaningful journey began with someone taking one uncertain step. Your future isn't built in giant leaps. It's built in ordinary mornings. 1 chapter read, 1 workout finished, 1 difficult conversation handled well, 1 prayer spoken honestly, 1 promise kept to yourself. Those moments seem too small to matter. But your brain keeps score. Each time you follow through, you strengthen your identity. You begin seeing yourself as someone who finishes what they start. Behavioral scientists often describe this as identity-based change. Lasting habits become easier when your actions reinforce the kind of person you believe you are becoming. That's why ambition should never be separated from character. Achievement without integrity eventually collapses. Achievement with character becomes influence, and influence has the power to serve others. That's the kind of ambition worth pursuing. Not ambition that asks, how much can you gain? But ambition that asks, how much good can you do with what you've been given? Imagine what your life might look like 5 years from now if you consistently improved by just a small amount each day. Not perfectly, just consistently. The distance between where you are today and who you could become isn't usually talent. It's direction. It's patience. It's thousands of ordinary decisions that quietly shape an extraordinary future. So don't be afraid to dream big. Just make sure your ambition serves something bigger than your ego. Let your work honor God. Let your discipline shape your character. Let your success become a blessing to someone else. Because the greatest ambition isn't becoming someone the world applauds. It's becoming someone your future self and your creator would be proud to recognize.